Okay, yeah, it's the first one ever in the history of literature in Wales, as far as I know, in dialect, and it was great to, obviously I followed up people I knew, like Topher, who'd been writing in dialect for years, Lloyd Robson in the States and so on, Peter and whatever, but it was also absolutely it was also great that people responded when I put it out on Facebook and Twitter and so on. It's great that people responded and actually wrote stuff, like I know Leigh and Mary actually wrote stuff for this anthology, which was absolutely brilliant. And hopefully you'll go on to write more dialect stuff in the future, and it'd be great. Fantastic. Okay, be good to hear, say, about 3 poems each from everybody, and then we can have a chat and people can ask questions and whatever afterwards. So Maggie is on the way. I'm not sure about Julie, who said she was coming, but she should be here. All right, so we'll kick off anyway with, we're doing it in kind of segregating it into sections, I think, as we're in Cardiff. So we're going to kick off with the Cardiff section, and we'll kick off with Topher. Thanks.
Well, I'm going to start with this one. This is the first Cardiff dialect poem ever written. It's called Never Forget Your Cardiff. Frank Van Ackerpan's on the mitch, in his bestest daps, on his fastest underhand bogey, like a proper Beano comic. Mad motors donkeying, racing through Grange End Gardens, causing a whopping great malarkey, dodging the diddy kies, scrambling across the daffs, cracking jelly through the tulips, and the paggies throwing a wobbly, totally out of the window like. Bloody little dozos, he yells, all jottled up to his nodgem. You'll get some grollop, you ever packs your arse round here again. Martha might be bejobbled, but Van Ackerpan, he's not a dill. It's his dream when he grows up to be obligatory to the Queen. And the packies at the majorum. His gemodjum's gone all manky. Far a whacking bullywocks he bars. I'm off down a skin house. I cack the lag from Cardiff Arms Park. I'll have a claxy pie and half a dark. And a banana jam sandwich. I'm in a bit of a quandary as to what to write next. What to read next, I mean. Not Partisan, because that's by Pete Finch, no. Go on, do it. I've only read this once before, surprisingly enough. Mark Jones got me to write this, so, I'll do this one. This is called Cardiff Market, as we're quite close to it, In Cardiff Central Market, innit? Trapes where maybe bargains sit, brawn, haslet, offcuts of Persian carpet, rediscovered record of a past hit, cages where smelly hamsters squit, toy stall plastic airfix car kit, second-hand books of famous man's wit, for full brekkie special then sit, super strong, samovar cup of char, it. Your plate awaits the pan hit. See, seated kids having a laughing fit. Beans on toast or Welsh rarebit. Jewelers watch their watches tick. Butchers, bakers, haberdashers knit. Vintage waistcoats, hats that fit. Fruit and veg, phones, a walking stick, electricals, gutted fish, hair ready plaited, bric-a-brac, a bit of tit-a-tat, iron trussed, glazed roof, slates shaded, air lit, summer sun shimmers, winter starlit, old clock takes all our time and marks it. That's Cardiff Central Market, isn't it? And this is the last poem I wrote. And this is called Remarkable, a Cardiff lullaby. Lullaby, not lullaby, lullaby. Bedtime Jabberwocky, sending the Sandman to close little Uzzuk's eyes with stardust sprinkle, to fly sleep into dream before the 8 o'clock monster prowls the landing, sniffing out the wakeful, ready to drink the blood of the refugees of Nod. So if you's been pretending, fake it flabbertastically, become a dead to this world and the next. Pancake flat, copied in the in a castle dungeon of the deepest mind's mine, wandering past Lanark Point. Don't be, sorry, I got this wrong. Wandering past Lanark Point, and don't be tricked by him, ticking like Grampy's watch, like he's got a fairy story, asking awkward questions like Claxy or Paxy, Bazzy Island or Alicante. Keep your gawpers shut tight. If his gollum tongue rasps your toes, though it tickles, don't dare squirm. Just think of eating cheese on toast. And when at last he have scarpered, you can warmly snuggle down to sleep to witty snoozes, dream of pit ponies prancing, rafting on the River Taff, BMX bunny hopping the barrage, scoffing Dorothy's off the bone, curried chicken and loads of chips, levitate from Caroline Street back to the Grange End with tummy full. You will kip till morning finds you, deado, and snoring something marvellous.
Okay, and next up is Joris. Thanks, man.
Yes, I've got one poem in the book, but it's not really a dialect poem. I think it's more like an accent poem, so thanks for squeezing it in there, Mike. And I've been writing these little poems every now and then, and like the one in the book, they're sort of trying to work out the sound phonetically. So when you read the poem, it's not like the word you'd expect, it's sort of broken up quite a bit. So I'm going to read 3 of those poems, and I'm just going to leave a little space between the words so you can kind of see how it's written. And I don't know if it's going to work because I've never read them out before. So you tell me after, not during. Clap politely, straight after. Tell me a little bit after that. So the first one is called Askin, and the spelling is A-S-S, and second word K-I-N. Thanks to my mother, as this is her accent that I'm about to do. She was asking for it. Ask anybody. She had her skirt right up chair. Everything on show. Nothing left to the imagination. All a bit just hanging out. You should have seen her. No wonder what happened. She was asking for it. That's for bleeding sure. Not so funny, but that's basically one thing that my mother said one day, almost word for word. This next one is called 10. It was Shakespearean the way he done it. God, he was great. I don't know how he done it, but he was fantastic. Pure class. That's what so I don't even know what it says, I've got to work it out. That's what I calls brilliant. 10 out of 10. 10 out of fucking 10. That's the end of that poem. And this is the one that's in the book, and it's inspired by a sort of an overheard pub conversation. It's called I Dunno. I dunno. I dunno why it is, but I got a good idea. Who knows though, really? I don't. Who really knows? I don't know who knows. God, it's like no one got a clue, though some pretends they do like. I got my own thoughts in it, but I could be wrong. I just don't know, not for sure. Do you?
Okay, Peter Finch is next. So, Peter.
So this is a poem that Tony Bianchi told me was in what's called macaronic. That means you mix languages, and it's sort of really for all of those present who may have attempted or who have learnt the Welsh language. Anyone had a go? Good. Right. Rydw I am fod bloody I am. Rydyn ni, rydw, I rodi, rodni I am. Rydyn am fod, I am. Rydw I yn Pantacelyn, Ryd Cwmerau, Pwllheli. Yes. I have Bickerbain mainly come sticker, aardvark, the dictionary, Cymru, hirsute, weirdo, on fire, arrested, finger-pointed, Rhydychen, imperialist, long-nosed, kinky cottagers. Roeddwn i'n fine yn y bore, oherwydd y heddlu not able anyway, little Zippo lager, considerable influence. Tried to burn it, not enough alcohol, corner shop, Ford Park, pack, diamond white, red stripe, burns your heart out. Rydyn wedi dysgu'r hen ddigon o mouldering Welsh Saunders, Mabinogion crap. Nasty bloody books. We're a video nation. Smot, Superbod, Samtan, brilliant example. Ac yn nawr, bod ar y satellite no defence, carcha, Poms yn Saesneg, dim yn gallu'r handlo'r Cymraeg. Real, traditional, bloody Welshman. So that's that one. Just outside, where are we? Where's the front of this library? Over there, where the big circle thing and the great spike, which is the sculpture by a Frenchman called Jean-Bernard Mété, called, can't remember what it's called, but it has a poem underneath it, which is a sort of concrete poem based on the spelling of the word Cardiff, which is mine. And in the original version of the sculpture, before they ran out of money, there were to be projectors high up in it, which would project pieces of verse, clips of verse, onto the pavement outside, and it would do this. And you could see them in the day, but they didn't have enough money, so it didn't happen. So the poem instead is on the window downstairs. Cardiff, Dŵr, Caerdydd, Mint, Pal, Arite, Skip, Cox, Tower, Tour, Bibles, Henges, Fish, imprisoned recidivist Rawlins, right white matey mate. Mermaid, Hayes, Waterloo Bridge, Glam Canal, Diction, Flumen, Taff, Floodplain, Flood, Pont, Point, Pint, Port, Point, Sabrina, Avon, Havren, Severn, Solid, Sandy, Roman, Frith, Cardiff, Cardiff, Kidest, Bethu Hun, what is this? Greyhound, Spice Box, Antiquarian, Huxley's Surgical Goods, embiggened bog, shoreline, sunk, alluvial gravel, buried books, wall and garden, canal, Leigh, Russell, Dunleavy, Jack Brooks, Butte, Wood, Hugh, Dispenser, John Batchelor, Llewellyn Brain, Shirl, Vic, Billy, Danny, Frank, Gilbert de Care, John Corey, Mary Clark, Tosh, Billy Raybold, Terry Nation, Thrasher Bops, Stockdale, Super Ted, Jim Driscoll, Mike Harries, Peg the Wash, Billy My Stick, Hairy Mick, Cochfarth, Dammy, Sammy, Bin Banger Ninja, Toy Mike Trevor, Psychic Centre, South Cardiff, a man lle mae Pŵr and Cwrdd, place where the power seeps. Near this spot, you could once cross a Cardiff bridge, before that, a Norman ditch, then Welsh water, then Roman mud. Was there much here found in the clay? Socketed axe head with converging ribs, bone fragment, pot, a few microliths, now all lost. Colin Baker, Doctor Who, 1986 time capsule, didn't find this. Future, future, Llaen, Caerdydd, Cardiff, shine, Cardiff, books, empty, Caerdydd, bricks.
Next up is Mary Kaye. Voice of Mary.
Hiya, thanks everyone. You can see all your faces. One of these poems isn't quite strictly true. I wrote both poems just for this. The first one I'm going to read was something I wrote for the Poetry in Arcades competition a few years ago, and I tweaked it for the book. It didn't win. I'm not looking at Mab. I'm joking. Anyway, so this is called Inner Love, and it was written to, it was about trying to think of what I really loved about the city of Cardiff. Okay, Inner Love. Like the castle's great and all that, no denying, and the arcades are unique. I mean, the Royal was built on slums, demolished special. Not being funny, but then families must have been gutted. Still, no lying, it's dead pretty, innit, love? And the market's hardly changed, except Sparks are massive now. I had a stall there originally, like, you know. And the docks, oh, sorry, bay. Well, I never, very glam. And at least the ship's still open, know what I mean? But I tells you what, hang on a sec. But I live. Yeah, on my way. I'll be there now in a minute. Sorry, drive, the old man. Where was I to? Yeah, right. Best thing about this place is the accent. I means it. I loves that Cardiff twang, I do's. It's so lush. My mum hated it though. So that's that word. Thank you. The other one that's in here is called Delilah, and I'm quite apt because it's the Welsh rugby today. And I wrote this after all the furor after they actually banned Delilah from the games, and whether you agree with that decision or not, I'm not saying either way. I was quite happy they banned it, but that's just my personal thing. Anyway, it's called Delilah, short poem. What's the matter with you? It's only a song. I've never treated women like that. I never will. And I've been singing this for years at the game. Just as me mates have, women too. It's tradition like. They should get on with sorting that house out and let us carry on as if nothing has happened. And how are we supposed to enjoy the rugby now? It's ruined. Know what I mean? So that's that. This one isn't in the book, but I'm allowed to read another one. It's very sweary, just to warn you. And I wrote this about the menopause, because menopause, all you can do is swear about menopause, really, isn't it, for those who were familiar, either through their own experience or through somebody else. So it's called Menopausal Me. I'm menopausal me. When it first started, right, I never knew what was happening. Really thought I was getting dementia-like. My memory was fucked, still is, mind, and my concentration non-existent. Like a fucking flies, you know, wandering aimlessly around the house, banging into things, not knowing why I've gone upstairs, what I'm doing in the kitchen, why I've got a pair of scissors in my hand. And don't ask me no challenging questions like, what's 2 + 2? Or, what time is it? Because I don't have a bloody clue. My patience is running thin. Brain fog's permanently moved in, like. And to be honest, I don't really give a shit, innit? I'm menopausal, me. And don't get me started on sleep. I used to go sleep great. Go 7, 8, 9 hours straight, flat out. Nothing would make me. Not even one of them claxons right next to my ear, I reckons. You wouldn't believe it if you see me now. I'm tossing and turning, awake every 8 bloody hour, needing the loo or dying of thirst, full anxiety attack, or because the wind happened to change direction in bloody Timbuktu. Sorry. And those fucking night sweats, I'm like I'm melting or something. I used to dream about drowning, now I actually am in my own bloody sweat. It's gross, I tells you. Wouldn't be so bad if it's just at night. Through the day too, mind. Hot flushes, then freezing cold like some demented cartoon thermometer I am, like this. Ooh, like that all the time. And I works in mental health. So you can imagine how freakishly off-putting I am to someone telling me their woes. I'm either bright red in the face, or I'm frantically fanning myself, or cutching myself up trying to be warm. And all shivers and chattering teeth. It's not a good look. what with that and zooming out randomly, or losing the thread of their stories, or scrambling for the right word. Yeah, it's like you're, oh, what's it called? Hang on, I'll think about it now, hang on a sec. Seriously, so wrong, know what I mean? They're like, do you know what, don't bother. You're the one who needs therapy. My menopause on me, don't know about anyone else. But it's like, I turned 50 and my body said, well, that's me done now, I'm out of here. I've had a bloody enough of trying to hold you together. Arthritis kicked in, energy pissed off. All those hormones I used to complain about, progesterone, estrogen, didn't appreciate how lush they were. They kept these bones moving, my skin glowing. Gone without no fair warning, jumped ship, and chucked on the skip like I'm off. Ta-da! It's not all bad though, honest. Quite liberating actually, especially when she's through the other side. No more pregnancy scares, saves a fortune on sanitary wear, and I'm no bitter old maid me, not a chance. Fucking Mother Earth I am, know what I mean? All's end out like at peace, and the best part of all, no bastard PMT.
There you go. Next up is Sara, who's come from Oswestry. We've annexed it overnight.
No, that's just where the shop is.
Yes, that's just where the shop is. Sorry, just where the shop is. Wrexham fan, so that's all right. Sara's deserves, I don't know, an honour for getting here. After how many trains? 20 trains? Oh, 5, okay. Thanks.
Sorry, I have got a bit of a sort of Kermit voice because I've been a bit ill with what everybody else is ill with, I think. I'm going to actually be really vain and take my cardigan off because it's on film. Okay, so I have one poem or two poems, depending on whether you count a translation of a poem as a separate poem in the book. So this is something that I wrote during lockdown, but it's about conversations that I witnessed between my grandmother and her sister back in the 80s. And they almost exclusively only spoke Welsh, but they were constantly saying how it wasn't the real Welsh either, because it was from Rhos, and it's such a strong dialect up there that they have been constantly told that their Welsh isn't proper Welsh. And actually I was reading the little blurb that I had put in here, and I remember a really interesting conversation between my mum and my dad when I was really little. We were sat at the kitchen table, and my mum was learning Welsh in college, and the instructor had told her that these were not real words, you've had that from him, and that these words weren't words, where my dad didn't learn English till he was about 7 or 8. So here's my mum telling my dad, they're not words, Ray. And he was like, really gutted, because obviously this is his language, this is the language that he speaks, and his wife is learning it, but she's being told he doesn't speak his own language. So, but anyway, that's an aside. Diom yn Gymraeg iawn chwaith, tein gedi nain ag Aunty Gladys. Mae'n ene naci tydi, lle ges ti fe? O, ene, ie. Ti'n edrych yn bropor ynddo fo, cofia. Ni di bod yn sidro mynd ene I brynu chydig o bethau. Mae'r lle yma fel Pontegel. Ond dene fo sy'n isio sponclo nag oes, mae'r pres yn mynd fel gyngel yn dydi un lleth dyddi yma. Dere mewn i'r tŷ rwan, neu byd ti'n starfio, siŵr? Be? Naci, dyna'n gair ni, am fod rhy oer, ie. Diolch wedi wneud efo bwyd, na. Dwi'n siŵr pam dyn ni'n deud nene yma, Cymraeg Rhos ynde, ond dene fo, diolch yn Cymraeg iawn na di. Ond dene dyn ni wastad di siarad sti, yma yn y pentref ar y mynydd. Roedd hi'n gret yma'r ystalwm, cofia. Mynd i'r eglwys ac cerdded yn dôl lawr y lôn, a phawb wrth i'n canu a siarad. Doedd gennym ni'n llawer, cofia, a finnau yn byw ar bron I ddim byd, byth yn bwyta, ac eto, nes I rioed dal ddim byd, naddo. Ges I beth o dip, a pawb arall yn sal fo fo. Oedd roedden nhw'n ddyddiau da. Ges I job mewn swyddfa unwaith, a'r bos o'r decw yn rhywle. A fo'n siarad efo fi, a fi'n gorfod dweud, dwi'n really sorry, ond nid I siarad yn Saesneg, I ni cael dall i'n gilydd, cwilydd. Ond dene fo chi'n gweld, Cymraeg Rhos, diolch yn Cymraeg iawn, na di. Hei, is I droi i weld Betty diwrnod o blaen, a hitha di cael carped newydd. Mae di gwneud i siwr. Yn cael pawb i draw i'r tŷ i gael spec arno. Wyt ti moyn bwyd, Cariad? Rydyn ni'n pasta grochan, a mae'n y cold beef enne os ti'n licio, a wedyn pasta fale, a gyda dop y llefrith arni, os ti isio. Dyna fo yn de, ond paid ti a gadael i ni dy fwydro di. Cadw di'n fynd yn dysgu Cymraeg iawn yn yr ysgol. Tydi Cymraeg ni ddim gwerth na di. Diom yn Gymraeg iawn, chwaith. Well i ti beidio pigo fo fyny. Diom yn Cymraeg iawn na di. Ddim yn Cymraeg iawn, chwaith. And now about the power of bagel fish. It's not proper Welsh either, a tribute to my grandmother and great-auntie Gladys. What I noticed when I started trying to read this in English, just ready for it here, is that actually Horse Welsh is like a translation of Cardiff English. It's got that sort of sing-songy tone, and which makes sense because a lot of people moved up from the south in order to work in coal mines, and that's where the dialect came from. So it's kind of like a translation of a translation, but that's knacky, isn't it? Where did you get it? Oh, there, yeah. You look proper in it, see? We've been thinking of going there, buy a few things. This place is like Pontekel. But there we are, there's no need to sponkler, is there? Money goes like a gunja to nowhere these days. Come into the house now, or you'll be starving. What? No, that's our word for being cold. Yeah, nothing to do with food, no. I'm not sure why we say that, it's Horse Welsh, but there we are, it's not proper Welsh, is it? And that's how we've always spoken here in the village on the mountain. Oh, it was great here in the old days, you know, going to church and going back down the lane, and everyone would be singing and talking. We didn't have much, you know, and I lived on next to nothing, didn't eat. And yet, I never caught anything, did I? I never got the dip. And everyone else was sick with it. Oh yeah, they were great days. I got a job in an office once, and the boss was from the south somewhere, and he spoke to me, and I'd say, I'm really sorry, but could you speak in English so we can understand each other? Ah, the shame, isn't it? And there you are, you see, Horse Welsh, it's not proper Welsh, is it? Hey, we went over to see Betty the other day. She's had a new carpet. Oh, she's made up with it for sure. Having everyone round to look at it. Do you want some food, Cariad? I can make hash, and there's corned beef there if you like it, and an apple pie, and you can have the top of the milk on it if you want. There we are, isn't it? But don't let us confuse you. Keep going and learning proper Welsh in school. Our Welsh is no good, is it? It's not proper Welsh either. You best not pick it up. It's not right, is it? It's not proper Welsh either. Now I'm going to shamelessly plug my bilingual pamphlets of poetry, because this is, it doesn't sound very jolly because it's called Triad Seizure. So it is about my history of seizures and treatment with anti-epileptic drugs and the impact that had on me. One of them being on my literacy, including in Welsh. However, lots of fun things tend to come out of bad experiences. So I'm going to read this in Welsh and in English, in the hope that that will tempt people to buy the book. And so it's called Pam fo brechdanau'n fenywaidd, and to give you an idea, in English that means why are sandwiches feminine? So there's a kind of, it's not too dissimilar to some of the things that have been read already. Y llinell, nid y linell, y llong, y llinyn, y llyfr, y llwyn. Mae Sally Mali'n cyfrif brechdanau. 1, 2, 3, 4, gan mai benywaidd yw brechdanau yn te. Ond pam fo brechdanau benywaidd? A sut mae gwybod pryd i dreiglo a pryd i beidio? Meddal, trwynol, llais, cysefin. Mae gen i'r tabl ymlaen y geiriadur. Ond waith iddo fod am focanau quantum ar y blaned Siwenna wir. A beth am yr acen grom te? A'r symbolau deiniadol eraill. Ond yn edrych yn neis iawn ar y tudalen, ac yn ychwanegu rhyw je ne sais quoi at enwau pobl. Mae'r rhaid i mi gyfadde. Siôn, Sian, Llyr ac Andrea. Ond dwi methu'n clir a cofio'r rheolau. Ac maen nhw'n niwsans i'w teipio fyd. Codau cymleth fel rhyw sy'n fath o semafor yn llefydd. Mae'n ddigon i gadw rhywun rhag blogio. A sut mae sgwennu'r dyddiad hyd yn oed? a, fyd, ef, ed. A pam fod rhai pethau yn 13, tra bod eraill yn 20. Rwy'n dieithrin I iaith fy nghalon, ym mhob ffordd cywir beth bynnag. Ac eto, mae'n prydferthwch i'r cymhlethdod. Hyn iaith urddasol, swynol, gyfriniol, a'i hidiomau pert a'r geiriau barddonol. Mae'n ddyfnder sy'n deillio'r hanes maith, a'r traddodiadau morffoleg yng ngwreiddiau'r iaith. A mae cyfoeth yn deillio o'r tafodieithoedd niferus, a siamprwydd yn yr ymenydd pan bod Cymraeg ar y wefus. Ac felly rwy'n fodlon straffaglu ar marciau de-critig, a mae'r rhydedd I sgrifennu yn yr iaith fendigedig. Anwesaf yn awr y tekaf a'r teced, a'r drud a'r drytach a'r drytaf a'r dryted. Mae'n bleser I ddysgu sut I gywir ef yng ngwallau, a dysgu'r ffordd orau I gyfrif brachdanau. So why are sandwiches feminine? Y llinell, not y linell. Y llong, y llinyn, y llyfr, y llwyn. Sally Mally is counting sandwiches. 1, 2, 3, 4. Because sandwiches are feminine, aren't they? But why are sandwiches feminine? And how to know when to mutate and when not to? Soft, nasal, aspirate, original. I have the table in the front of my dictionary, but it might as well be about quantum mechanics on the planet Suena, really. And what are the circumflex accents? And the other attractive symbols? They look very nice on the page and add a certain je ne sais quoi to people's names, I must admit. Sean, Sian, Llŷr, Andrea. But I simply cannot remember the rules. And they're a nuisance to type too. Complex codes like some kind of nightmarish semaphore. It's enough to keep someone from blogging. And how do you even write the dates? A, fed, ed. And why are some things in dig tree while others are dialect vague? I'm a stranger to the language of my heart, in every correct way, anyway. And yet, there's a beauty in the complexity, a dignified, charming, mystical old language, with pretty idioms and poetic words. There is a depth that comes from its long history, and the traditions of morphology in the roots of the language, a richness derived from the many dialects, and quickness in the brain when Welsh is on the lips. And so I'm willing to struggle with diacritical marks, for the honour of writing in the wonderful language. I'll embrace now the teg, tecav, and the teced, and the drud and drutach and drutav and druted. It's a pleasure to learn how to correct my mistakes, to learn the best way to count sandwiches. And then this is something that I've written just recently. It is being published in an anthology, but I'm probably going to write a whole book around it also. So there's a lot of things, words in Welsh that are being put, like the last bit being changed to iaith, which is, and spelt like the word for language. So there's hunan iaith, which means identity, hunan iaith, but if you change change the E to an I, it turns it into hunan iaith, so personal language, my language. So I've done the same with perthynol iaith. Perthynol iaith means relativity, and then I've changed the bit at the end so it's like language relativity. So that's what this poem's about. And this is called perthynol iaith, diosg het I Dave datblygu a'i terfysg iaith, because they datblygu were a band and they brought out an album recently, and they had done the same with terfysg iaith, which means rioting, but the terfysg iaith, they changed the end bit to meaning language as well. Ar ein gwefusau ac yn ein calonau, ond nid o'r rheidrwydd ar ein tudalennau, perthynas cymleth dan sicrwydd bregusrwydd, Cymraeg rong bratiog tlws, llawn direidi a heilsigrwydd, a weithiau hefyd geiriau dillyd. Peri pembleth i'r Cymru cywir, hwy sy'n fwy priodol, ynghyd â'r dysgwyr sydd wedi dysgu'r Cymraeg safonol, da ni y rhywle yn y canol yn driftian status wan bron a diffodd, ond ddim cweit achos mi fydden ni wastad yma o hyd. So language relativity with a dot of the hat to Dave datblygu, from Dave Edwards from datblygu. On our lips and in our hearts, but not necessarily on our pages. A complex relationship, uncertainty, fragility, Welsh that is wrong, tattered, pretty, full of mischief and playfulness, and also sometimes words from the dictionary. They cause a conundrum for the right, Welsh-speaking Welsh, those who are more proper, along with the learners who have learned the standard Welsh. We're somewhere in the middle, drifting, weak status, almost extinguished, but not quite, because we will always still be here. Oh, thank you. Yeah.
But Culture Matters are great. They're fantastic. They're a left-wing cooperative based in Newcastle, and they've produced quite a few books by Welsh writers over the years. Okay, so anyways, I'll kick off. Just myself and Leigh representing the Valleys, and as it's like almost Halloween, this is one for Halloween. Fleeing a monster. She come on a bus, blood streaming down her face from a gash on her forehead. One black eye looked bad. Somebody says, "That's the best Halloween makeup I've seen yet." Then she bursts out crying. This woman give her a push. "What's the matter then, love?" "He kicked me out. Going to my mum's, I am." "Which," she says. "Get on your broom." The blood ran down her t-shirt. Somebody give her tissues. No party for her tonight. Fleeing a real monster. This bloke gets on at a club. Scars and stitches, all kinds of stuff. Nobody says nothing, as a girl holds her head and weeps. This is the title of my latest book in Dialect, I, Sheriff and Merthyr. Invented character. He's supposed to be like representing the royal family. There's a series of poems in the book where I transpose the royal family to Merthyr. I, Sheriff and Merthyr. He was off of his trolley, shouting in the middle of Penderyn Square like he was a town crier. He had all the regalia, chains, fancy hat, medals galore. But he hardly spoke posher. Yer ye, good folk of Merthyr. I'm you a brand new High Sheriff, appointed after giving bags of money. Our good Queen have sadly passed away, waving from the sky on a separate cloud to her hubby. She have served us most graciously, same time looking after her family, especially her darling son Andy. Now we welcome King Charlie III, who once spoke several words of Welsh and loves talking to trees. We say croeso to Will's our prince, and look forward to showing him round before every business shuts downtown. As I, Sheriff, I hereby decree, Prince Charles becomes King Charles Hospital, and Keir Hardie Health Centre is named after Camilla. As I, Sheriff, I hereby declare this square will henceforth be named after me, Josiah John Bacon Humphrey Crochet. The last bit is just so everybody knows about Merthyr. It's just a combination of a lot of the Iron Masters from Merthyr. And this is just picking up on like an old fella. A fella, I kind of based it on a fella in my community choir. My eat-in policy. My eat-in policy is stopping in bed all day long. I haven't done that since my honeymoon. But now the missus have gone, my only company is the television. Downtown, apparently, they got something called an eat-in bank. It's where Wilco used to be. Some fancy name like Talking Shop. Made my will the other day. My house will go to pay for me and an home. Sometimes it feels like this bed's a comfy coffin, when all my joints pain and stiffen. My kids got me a mobile. Fair play, they do ring to check I'm still living. I moved to Bedford, I tell them, and they laugh with, see you soon. Okay, thanks a lot. Thank you. Yeah. Wait. Okay, Leigh Manley, representing, although he lives in Cardiff, he's representing my seg.
Good afternoon, prynawn da. Dwi'n dysgu Cymraeg. So that was inspired by Sara and Peter. I'm only 2 weeks in, I'm like only 2 modules in, so that is about the limit of it. We're starting at the top end of the Llinvi Valley here, in a place called Kaye, but we call it Kaye. It was inspired by a friend of a friend, really. My wife was a colleague of my wife's at work, and he said, when she mentioned I lived in my city, he said, I went there once for a funeral, and they buried the bloke in the back garden, and I thought there's a poem there, so here we are. This is called Dead Good Egg. It's so hard to believe he's gone, poor Dab. I feels for his mother, find him out the back like that. Must have broke her heart. Such a lovely boy, such a good-looking lad. Yestin thought an awful lot of him, he did. Said he was a life and soul, like the swig and to dabble with powder, but wouldn't harm a fly like. Said he was a dead good egg. Only just got out though. Such a pity. His dad was telling you there is some consolation that his mother knows he's home for good now, and she can keep an eye on him when she's doing her weeding or hanging out the washing. It's the first time I've read that, so it's more tricky than it looks. We're in my state town centre now, because growing up I used to, the Glamorgan Gazette, every couple of years they'd run an article, Kylie Minogue's grandmother lived in my state still, and that was the story in the town. So again, I just couldn't resist. I couldn't resist. So I kind of was a mishmash with my sort of teenage infatuation with Kylie, and also a place called the Bird in Hand that we all came to frequent, but probably regretted it. So this one's called Up a Bird. Did you know Kylie's half Welsh? Her nana was a Jonesman. True that is. When I was a nipper, Gazette ran a story regular on her. Stonking she was. Still is, man. I often imagined I was her neighbour instead of that puny Donovan bloke. She made my top 10 every single time, up there on fit lists with Sara and Bethan and Sean. If she'd lived in a valley, all the boys would have wanted to get off with her. Not sure how she'd have got on up a bird though, with all the strutters, nutters and slappers of buttocks, cat fights, scraps and staring at baps. Dunno how I'd have coped either, or copped. I'm a lover, not a fighter. Even now I just can't get her out of my head. Saw her on a telly the other day, told her missus straight like, I do the locomotion with her alright. She took a drag in her fag, said, I should be so lucky. And Topher, I hope you noticed I dropped the final line there, that I have to credit with Topher critiquing, and he was spot on as well. It works better without the last line. Final one from me. I mean, I should be over in the Principality, I reckon, this afternoon, because this is inspired by the man who's come back to coach Wales in his wisdom. It's called Warren Edder. Bloody hell! He's only gone and come back, man. Bonkers, boys are saying. Reckon he's off his trolley. Lost the plot big time. Can't get her head round why he'd put his neck on the line again. After all them grand slams. Thumper says he's been on a wacky-backy. Carcass reckons he's just skint like. Says his nana clocked him driving buses up Nanty last week. Knew it was him because he was Edward's coaches. I don't know about that. Maggie reckons he should have given Sean a tinkle before jumping on board. I told him he'd already signed with the Frogs, but he weren't having it anyway. Just kept saying what an header he was, thinking he could turn a mess around. How the union soon be selling Gatland wallpaper to hide the cracks. I don't want to go down that hole. For what it's worth, I'm chuffed to bits he's back. Knows us better than we knows ourselves, he do. Either that, or he's got a crystal ball. Named his son Bryn, after all. And he'll tackle everything head on, if anyone can pull a rabbit out of the warren. Thank you.
Yeah, Maggie's come all the way from Kent, you live in?
Yeah, Broadstairs.
All the way from Kent. Trains cancelled. It's a travel chaos. So she's like, she deserves a clap just for making it
Thank you, and I'm so cross that I've missed some of you. Because I left home at 8 o'clock this morning, but Paddington, oh Jesus, I won't go into it. Anyway, thank you, Mike, for including me in this. And did you have somebody to read the Welsh version? Or not? Or would you like to read it? It'd be nice to hear it. You can do it, probably.
Sorry about me.
Yeah?
Sorry.
I'll give it a go.
Yeah,
What
go
page is it?
140 is the English one, and 142. Oh, there you are.
Yeah.
Ah, okay.
Which
Yeah,
one
I know
should we-
this is one where you had an Elvin
And
to
then,
translate.
yeah,
I was
she's
like,
there. Yeah. I bulldoze that. Which one should we do first?
yours.
Do one first? Okay, it's called Cwmpyn Graig, Place of Stones, and it's where I lived for 10 years, Cwmpyn Graig, in near Newcastle Emlyn, some of you might know it. And I come from Guyana, so this poem is a little bit of Guyana, Welsh, bit of English, all kind of mixed up, and so that's where the kind of dialect bit goes in. Cwmpyn Graig, Place of Stones. Where your navel string berry is not necessarily home. This girl gonna walk, my grandmother said, and walk I walk from Guyana to West Wales, and I leave that place of oceans and slave bones for broke down cottages and hills where people still pray. And I come with my forked tongue, split syntax of English and street Creole to wander lanes with no names and no map, where even sat-nav work hard to find being a limbo beyond satellite, beyond stars. And stars and dreams of stars and songs called these Welsh from home to cross oceans to a continent of the imagination. And it's peeled this country peel like onions, garden cups, my cottage in its fists of seasons, caring nothing for my ignorance of names, pronunciation, language. And history running in the stream, right there beneath the stone. Mill worker, foot bottom still indent, ghost voice talking story, wild, a catch a fire, how he catching boat, with intention get the hell out of this place. It's not for he to know, some girl would bring his story right back here and tell him tales of sugarcane and captains tracing latitude and longitude with quadrant, quill and octopus ink. He would laugh true, whilst that stream keep gurgling, stones keep tumbling on the score, the footfall of my feet.
Cwmpyn Graig. Nage, lle mae'ch llinyn bogail wedi gladdu? Uwch cartref, mae'r groten ma'n mynd i fynd yn bell. Yn mynd yn bell nes i o Guyana i orllewin Cymru. Gadael, y lle yn llawn esgyn caethweision, a moroedd, a chael yn ei le adfeilion o fythynod a bryniau, lle mae'r rhai yn dal i weddio. A dod gyda'n hafod, dwy fforch iddi, ffordd o siarad hollt, rhywlediaeth o Saesneg a Chreoleg, ystrydoedd, i grwydro lonydd heb enwau na map, a lle mae hyd yn oed y satnaf yn gwegian ar goll mewn gwagle. Heibio i'r lloeren, heibio i'r ser, a ser a breuddwydion am ser ac alawon, wedi henwi yn heniaeth oddi cartref, i groesi o genfor i gyfandir y dychymyg, ac yn pilio'r wlad ei bilio fel minions, llond disgyl o ardd yn ei ddyrnau o dymhorau, gan boeri'n iots am fy amwybodaeth, am enwau ynganu iaith na hanes, sy'n llifo'r nant honco monco, ger y garreg, ôl troed a gwadn gweithwyr, o'r felin yno o hyd, a llais ysbryd yn gof. Y gyfarwydd am y gwyl certh, fel y daliodd gwch gyda'r bwriad o sgathru a baglu hi o'r lle. A phwy feddyliau y bydde rhyw ferch yn dod â'r stori nôl yn ei chôl gan sôn am blanhigion siwgr a chapteiniaid fyddai'n olrhain lledred a hydred cwardrans y lle gyda chwilsyn ac inc octopus. Am chwerthin fyddai'n farw o chwerthin ac fy mew tra bydd y nant yn barablu a cherig yn dymchwel dan fy nhraed, dan droedle fy nhraed.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you. Do you have time to listen to
Go on.
one? I've got
Yeah.
another one in dialect
Yeah.
that's not in the book.
Yeah, of course.
And it's called That Thing Called Voice. Once me no know what that thing called voice till doctor slapped me backside, then me holler make noise. I grew up white and I grew up black and them teach me about God and how to keep on track. Book enter my head and story move in, music bust my head and I dance up and ting. I like boys bad and some like me, but too much romance only cause misery. When my daddy dead and the country run down, my mother pick up she picnic and run to England. We left we sweet land of many waters, cross ocean where so many our ancestors drowned. I want to be an artist was my story, and I look at my life and my history. Didn't see no place for a girl like me till the day I find poetry and poetry find me. Poetry bring him mother and his father too, he cousin, uncle from Timbuktu. I find so many friends on the word soul train that when I fall out the carriage, I jump on again. Plenty other brothers and sisters board the train and love and respect, you must listen and learn. But if you're waiting for luck, luck ain't waiting for you. So I come here with my dandan, I come here with my bling, I shouting out my story loud so you can hear me above the crowd. But don't me climb the ladder like I always falling down. I don't know if I not talk thing that people not like for hair. I don't know if them not like my teeth, my eye or my hair, or it's cause me foreign, or if my skin is the wrong shade. But you know, for everybody who not like you in this world, there's plenty other love you and plenty other care. So who not like me not care, them can haul their ass. Me no know no stupid, follow pattern, jackass. For we is the word and the word is we. One people, one nation, one destiny. We soldiers of the spirit and this is our time. If one person listen from somewhere in the crowd and poetry mend one broken heart, then we must be proud, for that is the story, that is the line, that is the story, that is the line.
Okay, I'm representing Swansea. It's although he's been stuck in Newport for a while. Brian Phillips, thank you.
I think they were just sentenced. Okay, this is about the eternal rivalry between Swansea and Cardiff in football, and of course about between Wales and everyone else in rugby. It's called Them versus Us. We get on very nicely till a derby comes around, then this bastard Jack and fucking Taff, who goes up, they'll be back down. Now one thing's always bothered me, it's childish and absurd, that both teams have a nickname that's just a pretty bird. Imagine right before a game, who tries to give you a team some hoil, up the Swans or come on Bluebirds, would take their passion off the boil. We're not Willa Bad nor Vera Lynn. We're not from Stratford nor from Dover. Would you call a rabid bulldog fluffy? We need to think this name thing over. The name should rouse in others dread and make a visiting teams afraid and let them know they'll soon be dead, or at least in need of some first aid. The Swans could be the Vikings, 'cause Swansea was Swain's eye. The bluebirds more like seagulls who rub you with chips as they go by. Our national game has different rules where a noise turns visitors' blood to ice, and one rule stands above them all: at all costs beat the bloody sice. We loves the Irish, loves the Scots, Italians are all our mates. We respects the bloody French a lot, it's just the bloody sice we hates. When that day comes round once a year with joy and rapture unsurpassed, we sheds a patriotic tear and watch a sice get far outclassed. And even if we lose the game, there's one thing that I won't be winning. It ends up every time the same. We'll thrash the sice at bloody singing. Thank you. This is a remembered conversation between me and a friend when we were about 11 or 12, out with our bikes. And it was a very observant lad, was Brian Bissett, and I'm Brian Phillips. So it was a bit of a fruity conversation. So this is a fruity conversation. It's alternate Brian Bissett and me, Brian Phillips. Do. Look at that dog's what he calls. That's nothing, man. You should see my brother's bollocks. Oh, aye? Why's that there? You've had a cricket ball on full toss right in the Bethingaloo. Oh, right in the nuts. Aye, man. Smacking a cobblers from Putty Mansell down the park. And he's fast as fuck, isn't he? Walking like a duck he's been for a week now. How do you mean? Do his ass crack quack? No, man, you daft get. Walks with his legs apart, waddling like what, penguin is it? That's about it, aye. He had 2 plums last week, mind. Now he's got 2 oranges in a sock, man. Is he walking more like one of them Japanese wrestlers then? Aye, like one of them Satsumo wrestlers. And this final one, I didn't write it, I wish I had. There's a late poet called Nigel Jenkins, which I think most of you will be familiar with. He was my mentor when I started writing poetry many years ago. And I started publishing a little magazine called Maximum Load, which got to about 3 editions, I think. And he sent this poem to be in the magazine. And it's a bit of a fruity conversation as well, but it's called The Language of Love. Now, I don't know how many people are from Swansea here, but there's one thing that nearly every man in Swansea has a great difficulty in expressing, and that's love. So he expresses it in different ways. So, the language of love in Swansea. Walking down this fucking street, I spies a fucking bar. I'm feeling fucking thirsty, I was in for a fucking jar. It's pretty fucking quiet this Friday fucking night. Me and this fucking woman, the only fuckers in fucking sight. So I buys myself a fucking pint and her a fucking stout, and we drinks for fucking hours till he kicks us fucking out. Then we takes a fucking taxi to this block of fucking flats, and we rolls into a fucking pad as pissed as fucking rats. Well, next you fucking ask him where the air, so fucking course, we takes at last to a fucking bed and has sexual intercourse.